on behalf of everyone on the call this evening, just a massive thanks, mate, for getting up at this hour. I believe it was at 5 a.m. your time at the moment.
It just hit 5 a.m. and I started waking up at about 4. I was too excited.
4 a.m. And I mean, and that's not even the first time you've done that, is it? You do that regularly. So, you know, the level of commitment and support that you give us guys is fantastic, Daniel. So, you know, from me and the rest of the guys in the team on the call, before we even start, we just want to say a massive thank you to you. And we're all really excited to get in onto this call this evening because, as you know, the event on the weekend that we've all just had was a massive success. Everyone, I think, on this call would have been at that event. And the reason we wanted to get this call up and running, guys, and I'm sure Daniel's going to allude on more on that in a second, is to put you guys, you know, including me, into action following that event. Because, you know, I said it on stage. I said, you can take as many notes as you like. You can be in the room on the day. You can go to as many events as you want and as many trainings. But if you don't take action following those events, you've just wasted most of your time attending the event because you're going to have a book of notes which stay in your drawer. So this call is pretty much for you guys to take action following that event. So Daniel, again, thanks again. I'm going to let you crack on and give us all your, you know, guru knowledge.
My pleasure, mate. I'll keep you live there so we can have a bit of banter backwards and forth. And if there's any questions, what you should be able to do there is, let me just add you as a presenter. You just have to find your name. Heaps of people here, mate. Awesome to see. As soon as I can find you there, I'll make you a presenter. And we'll get a bit of banter here. I'm a big believer in network marketing. I have had the pleasure of working with so many of the RX team live in events in the UK and face-to-face. And Nini and I, sometimes we just sit here shaking our head in Taiwan, just in awe of the quality of people. The quality of people in RX is absolutely phenomenal. I've had the pleasure of consulting more than 3,000 people, and the quality that we see in RX is just above and beyond. I remember training a group of network marketers in Australia, and I thought, wow, if the RX team was in Australia, they'd be absolutely crushing it. And when I talk about that quality, it's the quality of the mindset. It's that generosity of the heart and the willingness to learn. I see them there as good students. I was asking myself the question years ago, what makes a good student? And I did all this research, and I brought it down to two types of students. We have a Western style of student, and we have an Asian style of student. And a Western style of student goes to class, they take notes, and then they go home and they put that notebook on the shelf, and they look forward to the next training, but they don't do anything about what they learn. And that's the Western style of student. But the Asian style of student, what they would do thousands of years ago is they would trek from one side of their country all the way to the other side. And they'd sit there in front of the master and they would take notes and notes and notes. But you'd see this amazing thing. They just didn't come by this themselves, but they would bring their friends along with them to learn. They would bring their families along, and then they would share all of that knowledge with all the people that was important to them. They would share those skills, but most importantly, they developed this success attitude and this success personality. And when we look at the RX team, I see so many of these Asian style of students, people traveling to Birmingham from the opposite side of the country to see a guy like Tim Sales who's flown in from the other side of the world. They sit there with their notebooks. I saw amazing people there, pictures of them there with their families, their husbands and wives, their sons and daughters. And I think that for the RX team, it's just phenomenal. And being an Asian student, what they do is they take this knowledge and they use it and apply it for the rest of their lives. And we are just blown away by the team members that you've recruited. World class, top in the industry. And
Appreciate that.
and we respect that. We sit here, and I said to Nini the other day, I said, I want to go to that event. I'm in here in Taiwan going, I want to be there. And it's just amazing because you can sense the willingness to learn.
You're invited to the next one, Daniel, just so you know.
Cheers, mate. I would love to be there. I would love to fly to Vegas at the end of the month and go to that one as well. So I'm gonna find a way to go to them, because the learning that you get there is something phenomenal. The RX University, everything else, it's just world class, mate. I love it. I really do. Well, we're in for a treat tonight. There's three things, and there's three things that are going to transform your life, because you've got all of this knowledge from the event on the weekend. And like Carl was saying, is it's time to apply it. We have a mind that is so powerful that you have more potential that you could use in this lifetime than it would be possible to use in 100 lifetimes. This information can sit in your mind and just have a lot of positive thoughts around it. Or you can take those thoughts and turn them into actions. But in order for those thoughts to turn into actions, there's one thing that sits right in the middle of that, and that's your feelings. And we are 100% emotional. And there's two major emotions that we're driven by. One is fear, and the other is desire. And whichever one is the strongest is going to win. So you can have these thoughts, but before you can take action is you've got to have a feeling. Now, there was a gentleman from Scotland, Andrew Carnegie, richest man in the world. He will be the richest man that has ever been on this planet. No one will ever surpass him. He had a net worth of $400 billion at the turn of the 19th century. We're talking 117 years ago. His major dominant purpose for the first half of his life was to make as much money as he could. And the second half was to spend as much money as he could. And it was to spend it to improve the world. He built hundreds of churches, hundreds of schools, hundreds of universities. He donated more than $400 billion back into the worldwide economy. And this gentleman, he didn't have the knowledge that you have today. He was a simple guy. He took a piece of thread and he wove it through a bobbin in the cotton factories, in the weaving factories. And that was his basic education. He didn't have mentors. He didn't have the Tim Sales, the James Lavelle, the Carl Amory's of the world to inspire him. But he had this level of desire that drove him. And he took the little knowledge that he had and become the wealthiest man on the planet. And with what you've got today, you can become the wealthiest people in your town, in your country, and also in the world. And you'll do a lot of good things once you have that level of desire that Andrew Carnegie had. So it's about building up this feeling, and that feeling is emotional. So the three big takeaways that you're going to have tonight is you're going to learn about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, when I share these statistics with you, it will blow your mind. Secondly, we'll talk about two different types of people and two different levels of emotional intelligence. And then thirdly, we want to talk about motivation strategies, because everything we do, from making your coffee in the morning, if you get up and make a coffee, I bet you do it the same way every single day. When you get up in the morning, you put it on the same sock first. When you have your shower, you'll wash one armpit before the other, hopefully. We have all these strategies, and motivation is a strategy. And with what I'll reveal to you about motivation, again, will get you pumped up and taking that knowledge, attaching it to a feeling and taking action. Once you take the action, then all the results come. So as we go, Carl, feel free to jump in there. We might have some questions along the way. So if you've got some questions, shoot them over. So let me just get up the chat box here. I've got a chat box here, And if you've got questions, just type in a question and we'll get you on the line and we'll discuss it in more detail. So let's kick it off. So you guys know a little bit about me. I just released another book today, which I'm very excited about. After 9 years of research in this industry, I've compiled all of my case studies, all of my notes into a book that's more than 400 pages. And I was excited as I brought it out today because I know that the coaches that I train, it's changing their lives. And I want to put my 9 years of knowledge into their hands. Because when I learned coaching, nobody would ever share with me how to become a success. And that was really frustrating. And when I look at the RX team, is everybody's willing to share their success. And that's why I get up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning and start webinars at 5, because that inspires me. So I'm sharing my knowledge with the people who I know that are going to use it. So I've had the real pleasure. Also, a gentleman who's very important in my life is Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy has shared with me his knowledge, and he's had the ability to train more than 5 million people. He was massive in Amway in the 80s and 90s. And the strategies he used for the success in Amway, he shared with me and my team. And we will share these with you also. And he is an absolute master. If you want to become a success, you got to study. And Brian Tracy personally told me he's read more than 5,000 books and he has studied more than 180,000 hours in the field of personal development. So if you want to master something, the first thing is it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time, but it's getting the knowledge and then applying it. In the Carnegie studies, they discovered there's 3 components to success. The first component of success was knowledge. We all have to have a form of knowledge. Once we have the knowledge, we then develop the skills. Through developing knowledge and skills, this only equates for a very small portion of our success. The biggest portion of our success is our attitude. And our attitude is 100% in our control. And attitude alone equates for 85% of your success in everywhere in your life. Knowledge and skill is important, but it's the attitude. And that's really what your opening was there, Carl, is take that knowledge and do something with it. And
absolutely,
your attitude comes from your expectations. Your expectations. There's 4 expectations. The first expectation, which changes your attitude, is the expectation that your parents had on you. Now, some of us grew up in a very positive expectations house where our parents believed that we're going to go out there and become a big success, that we could jump higher than anybody, jump further than anybody else. And if we grew up in one of those households, that's helped us develop a really positive mental attitude. But our parents didn't live in the day and age that we're living in now with personal development. So some of our parents just believed that you are where you are in life and that's where you stay. And they passed that down onto us and they just said to us, well, don't expect too much of yourself. Don't go and start a business. You'll only get let down. And our parents, God bless them, they did the best they could, but they always didn't set us positive expectations. And our parents' expectations are so powerful that we will live up or down to those expectations our entire life. Even well after our parents are gone, we'll still live up or down to those expectations. The statistics show that 90% of the prisoners in the American prison system were told by their parents, you'll end up in prison.
That's crazy.
That's how powerful it is. And that's showing that people will live down to that expectation. And as parents, Carl, we're fathers. We have a duty to our children now to have positive expectations. And we have to tell our children every day, you're going to be a big success. You're going to grow up and daddy believes you're going to be a big success. And expect it. Tell them you are going to do well. You are going to achieve your goals. And that alone can transform somebody's entire life. And the expectations influence our attitudes. The second thing that influences our attitude is our first boss. If we had a poor boss to start with, they taught us a lot that you couldn't succeed in business. But what you've got in RX is you've got people who've become incredibly successful, and they were just the average person. So in RX, you have high expectation bosses, CEOs who have high expectations because they started where you started and they got to the top, and they know you can do it too. I know you can do it. Carl Amory knows that you can do it. So your expectations of your boss. Now, when we say boss in network marketing, we can say your sponsor. As a sponsor, if you believe and expect that your team will get results, and your powerful belief is more powerful than their self-limiting belief, like a magnet, you will attract them to success because of your expectation. You would have known it. You've worked with thousands of network marketers. You've spent years in the military, and you know that somebody with a positive expectation can totally transform your unit. And you would have experienced that for years.
Oh, completely. Absolutely. I mean, I can give you an example where if the troop commander, if you like, was positive, encouraging, and always, wanting the men and the troops to do well and bigging them up and, telling them they were going to be able to achieve things, then their performance was always a lot better than the troop next door. And that's just from one guy telling you that you are good and you can do it. So yeah, I've got first-hand experience with that. It's powerful stuff.
They, in the 1900s and the 1800s, they were studying mesmerism. Now, I'm a master hypnotherapist, and I like to hypnotize people, and you can hypnotize people for the positive by giving them positive expectations. Hypnosis is just another form of trance. A lot of people in life right now, they're in the trance of I can't succeed. But the people who are succeeding are in the trance or under hypnosis that they can succeed. There was 500 documented studies in the 18 and 1900s about mesmerism, and they showed that people who had a positive expectation surgeon and believed that these people could have an operation without any pharmaceutical drug could have an arm or a leg amputated with no pain, because the doctor believed in them so much that if they just stared at a spot on the wall and focused on that, they'd be able to do it. And they had more than 500 documented cases of people having major surgery without pain. It's incredible. And those 500 people who had a positive expectations doctor, the doctor would say, you will heal your wounds and you'll heal very fast. These people recovered at 40 and 50% times faster from a surgery than the other people who had pharmaceutical medications and drugs afterwards to reduce the pain. So we live in a society these days, and you've just gone through it in the UK. It's called flu season. The pharmaceutical companies are really smart. If they want to sell a lot of drugs, they start advertising on TV. The flu season's coming. They put up all the posters at the bus stop, and what happens within weeks? Everybody's hypnotized that they're going to be sick. So the expectation of the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies make you sick. You've got products where you expect people will take them, like Moa, like Rejuvenex. Thanks for shipping that out to me, by the way. Like Slenderize. You expect your clients to take this, and you tell them, you take this and you're going to feel a lot better. They'll have 1 shot, 2 shots, and they go, you wouldn't believe it, Carl. I feel amazing, because of your expectation. And do that with your team. Have high expectations. The third expectations is the expectations that we have on our spouse. And we want to have high expectations on our spouse. Now, I know that some of you have spouses who just aren't convinced that you're going to be a big success. They're not convinced that education is the right thing for you. But what I want you to do is this. I want you to expect each and every day that your spouse is going to achieve great things. They're going to achieve great things in their career. They're going to achieve great things in their finances. And also expect that they're going to give you some really good sex. And what you will find is your expectation of them will totally transform them as you believe in their greatness, as you believe in their success with no limitations. Because of the law of attraction and the mental law of equivalence, they will start to expect the best from you. And you're going to have some wild sex, which is very important.
Perform then, yeah?
Yeah. So that's it. That's important. And the fourth expectation that will change your attitude is the expectation of yourself. The expectation that you have of yourself is stronger than any other expectation that any other person could ever have on you. If you grew up in a family who never believed in your success, if you had a boss who never believed that you'd amount to anything, if you don't think other people can achieve much, but you change that and you believe that you're going to be a big success and that you're going to take that knowledge from the RX University and apply it and recruit clients faster than you ever have had before. If you believe this year you're going to double and triple your income, if you believe you're going to overcome your self-limiting beliefs, and that is so powerful, loaded up with desire, you will have all those things because your expectation is your own form of hypnosis. The results you're getting in life right now are based on your expectations. And you can change your expectations any day of the week. And it doesn't take a day to do it. It doesn't take an hour. It happens in an instant. And this is why we want to talk about emotional intelligence. And it excites me. So, Carl, here's some facts. EQ, or your level of emotional intelligence, accounts for 58% of your success in life, both professional and private. That comes down to your emotion, 58% of your success. The way that you feel in the moment, the way you constantly feel about what you're doing. Remember that feeling when they called your name and you went up on stage? Remember that feeling? Imagine carrying that feeling with you into every client appointment. How many times have you been up on stage and had that feeling, Carl?
Yeah, it's a good feeling, and you said about the belief and the expectation in yourself. Now, I'm quite lucky, my mum and dad. Well, my dad doesn't communicate very well, but my mum, she, even though she hasn't been successful herself with pretty much not with anything apart from probably bringing up the kids, which is a great success in its own right, I suppose. Mm-hmm. She used to tell me every day that I was going to do big things, and my mum's, I'll openly admit she's not that intelligent, but she done those little basic things every day, saying, "Oh, you're going to do big things when you're older, Carl. You're going to do well when you're older, Carl." And it's crazy how even though I kind of didn't really believe it, because she kept saying it, it's like I had to live up to that. Mm-hmm. And that was a seed that was planted in me as a young kid. When she was saying things like that, I went out and got paper rounds. I worked hard. I tried to get in every sports team, and I really, really put it down to my mum actually saying that most days to me. And that just shows how powerful it can be transitioning through your life up to the age of 34, which I am now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that feeling, if you can lock it in and go through the day with it, then it's going to give you huge, results.
Mm-hmm. That feeling is the emotion, and when you look at somebody in the eyes and you look at them, and from your heart you say to them, "I believe in you," it melts the person on the inside. And what it does, it starts to melt away their self-limiting beliefs about themselves. So when you are with your team members, believe in their success. Your brain is set up in a way that it's impossible to fail. All you have to do is program it correctly. You can program your mind, or somebody else can do it for you. And being a network marketer, you are a leader, you are a coach, and you have to show people the way. Look at them and say, I believe in your success. I believe that you can transform your life. I believe that you can get out of debt into financial freedom. I believe that you can get rid of that job and start your own business and have the freedom that you deserve. I believe in you. It only takes one belief, one person's belief, to change somebody else's life. So they did some studies, and in America they gave children everything you could ever imagine. Mobile phones, computers, PlayStation, Xbox, Netflix, clothes, Nikes, all the toys. But they didn't give them any emotional support. They removed all emotional support from them. Children in Africa, they gave them nothing except fresh water and some good quality food. And love, love, love. They gave them nothing but love and attention and support and belief. And they noticed this thing happening simultaneously was the children in America, they physically started to die. They had everything they could ever dream of except emotional support. And they started to wither away. Their health got really bad. Their physical mass started to deplete. Their muscle mass started to waste away. Their attitudes become very poor, and they got very, very, very sick. But the children in Africa, who had all this love and belief and support, their muscle mass started to grow. They went from being experiencing malnutrition to having full nutrition. The body came back to life, and these children become very happy and very successful. So what it shows us is that having a major definite purpose that goes beyond physical things will keep us alive, and it'll keep us searching for that internal victory that we're after. And if you believe in somebody else, you will bring them back to life. I don't know anybody, and mate, I know a lot of people, and I asked them the question, what did you want to be when you were young? They said, I want to be a businessman. I wanted to be a businesswoman. I wanted to run my own company. I wanted to employ people. I wanted to travel the world. I hear this all the time. I'd never heard of somebody saying, Daniel, when I was 6, all I ever wanted to do was grow up and have the minimum wage. All I wanted to do is go to a job every day that I hate. I want to get up and catch the train for an hour and a half in the freezing cold weather, and that's my ideal life.
You say it like that, Daniel, but you've only got to walk down the street and go to the train station, and there's thousands of people doing that same thing.
Yep. It is, and we have to believe in these people that they can get back in contact with that thing that they always wanted to be. Ask people. It's really interesting. Ask them, what did you want to be when you wanted to grow up? I wanted to be a doctor. I said, I want to go help people. I want to change people's lives. Now, we always find a way to do it. I was very challenged as a child. I was the guy with the big glasses at school. That was me. I was the guy with the Coke bottle lenses. I was the guy getting in trouble because I had every learning difficulty. I was in what they used to call the space lab because the kids were so spaced out. I had every difficulty in learning you could ever imagine, and I couldn't read properly. I had a photographic memory, but I couldn't read. I could tell you the words, but I couldn't read. One eye looked over to the left, and the other eye looked over to the right, and nobody knew where I was looking.
Yeah. I tell you what, you've come a long way, Daniel.
Mate, I did, and I was lucky enough because my mum believed in me. She said, because of your disabilities, you're going to be a big success. And this is what I heard growing up. And I went, wow, because my eye looks over there and the other one looks over there, she must be right. And like your mum, like my mum, we have to be like mums to those people, and we've got to get them back in contact with what they really want. And 36% of people are instantly able to recognise their emotional state. Now, 36, that's awesome, but it leaves 64% of people not knowing what emotional state they're in. So if you've gone to the RX University and you've got a book full of notes and you're sitting on the couch, then you don't recognize the emotional state that you're in. If you're up making calls, hustling, calling new people, then you understand the emotional state you're in. So as leaders, you've got to start to bring this to the attention of the people around you. Hey, if you've got all of that knowledge, but you're still sitting on the couch and doing nothing about it, what emotional state are you in? Well, the emotional state is fear, because you're failing to take action.
Fear.
Fear. Yeah.
Fear.
That's it. There's two major emotions, fear and desire. If you're thinking about making telephone calls, then you're experiencing fear. If you're making telephone calls, you have desire.
Yeah, it's so simple. Absolutely.
And if people in your PT, you know this, people say, Carl, I'm going to get fit this year. Excellent. Good. What are you doing right now? I'm sitting on the couch. Good. You're living in fear. Because the desire of that body, that ideal body, isn't great enough for them. So they haven't taken action. But what will happen to that person is eventually they will get a form of cancer, and then they will fear for their life. And when they fear for their life, then they'll do something about it. But usually by that stage, it's too late. And that person who's been catching the train to work every day for the past 15 to 20 years, catching the bus, doing what they don't want to do, they're living in fear. And they've got their own form of cancer. And their form of cancer is a negative mental attitude. It's called psychoscoliosis. It's a phenomenon. Psychoscoliosis is a hardening of the attitude. It is the cancer of the attitude. It's the arthritis of the attitude. Your attitude gets stiff. So if somebody's living in fear, then they're having the wrong emotional feelings. They have to move from fear into desire. So this is where understanding people's major dominant purpose is so essential. And Generation Y, the generation that a lot of us are in, their regulation, their self-regulation, their ability to get themselves in and out of a positive mental attitude and a feeling is the lowest of all the generations. And I don't say that to put a downer on it. I say it because it's an awareness that we have to have. If we know that we are sitting on the couch and we do nothing about it, then we've got to ask some really good questions. What is it that I truly want? And we might say, I want the big house, I want the big car, but if we're not making calls, we don't really want it. So one of the things, and I was talking to, I think it was James Lavelle yesterday about it, is that, Carl, you and I, we were on the back end of the lay-by generation. I remember it was about 1986. I wanted a toy for Christmas. And these toys, they used to be on the shelf for about 5 years. Not like today, there's a new toy every other week. My parents said to me, Daniel, if you want that toy, then we don't have the money to buy it, but we will find it, but we have to lay by it. So what I would do, I'd go to Mum's business, and every week she'd give me, like, maybe it might have been like 50 cents. And she'd say, take the 50 cents over to the toy shop and pay another 50 cents off the toy. And I would go there week in, week out. Imagine the desire and respect that you have for that item after a year of going to that shop 52 times. And that was our generation, the back end of it. And we would put things on lay-by. And when you got that pair of shoes, even if it was a $10 pair of shoes, it might have just been a pair of, like, we called them Dunlop Volleys. They used to cost $10. We would treat them like gold. We would look after them. We would make sure they didn't get dirty. We wouldn't leave them outside. We wouldn't drag our toes because we had to pay the price in advance. Generation Y is different. They've grown up in the credit card generation. They take their credit card and they walk it around and they tap, 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 tap it on everything. They can have everything before they even pay for it. So what happens is their drive has changed. They want it now. So the mentality of the lay-by generation serves its purpose. When you've taken enough action, you will get all the rewards. And if you have a look at the rewards that you have in life right now, the compensation, the commission, that's just a direct reflection of the amount of effort that you've put in, the amount of action that you've taken. And it's no different for anybody else. If you're getting a 1-figure commission check, that's your level of action. If you're getting a 2-figure commission, then that's your level of action. 3 figures, 4 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, and so on. It just comes back to your level of action. And if you're prepared to take enough action and live in desire and get out of fear, you will get all the things that you've ever dreamt of, plus more. But what you will have is you'll have the peace of mind. And the peace of mind is that you'll never have to worry about money again, because your action is the thing that determines all of your results. It starts with a thought, then it gets to that feeling. If you're living in desire, you'll take massive action. If you're living in fear, you'll have a lack of action. And then you get the results after that. It's a very simple process. So when somebody drives down the street and they're in the 5 Series BMW or they're in the Audi Quattro, whatever it might be, salute them, because that person has taken some serious action. Go to the toy shop. Go to the toy shop. Pay your 50 cents every week. Pay the price in advance, and you'll really enjoy that thing later on.
Yeah. You know what, Daniel? The way you've just said that, then living in fear equals no action. I think a lot of people on the call will relate to it. I've been there. I was there, probably about a year ago, where I was in fear. And the fear for me was, do I leave the military? I've got security. I've got a house. I've got a pension in the pot that's going to pay me out for the rest of my life. I've got a wage coming in. We're safe. We got a security blanket. But it wasn't ever going to give me the life that I believe that I deserve and my family deserve too. Mm-hmm. So, I was living in fear by not handing in my papers and leaving. So when I got rid of that fear and had more desire, which I've got now, I handed my papers in to leave and go and do bigger things. And now I've got that much desire, the action has gone through the roof. It's as simple as that.
Beautiful. It's amazing how we create all these good reasons, isn't it? I've got a secure job. I've got a paycheck, and we get into this. We get into this land of justification, and we got to get out of that and back yourself 100%. Back yourself. If I remember, Carl, I was cabin crew, and I loved the job, and I did the job because I wanted to do the job, and I wanted to travel the world. And I looked around, and when I got there, I looked in and I went, you know what? This cabin crew job, it's going to be fantastic, but it's not going to, I don't want to be serving chicken and beef at 50 years of age. I really don't want to do that. And I thought, if I serve chicken and beef, then what does that give my family? It doesn't give them a lot, but I did it for the experience. And once I got what I needed to get, I moved on. And then I backed myself. I sold 2 houses, and every dollar I had in the bank, I put into personal development. People saying, Daniel, you're stupid. I said, I know. I said, I'm so stupid that I'm not going to live up to a negative expectation of somebody else. and they'd go, oh, you should keep the houses. They're going to double in price every 10 years. And I said, well, you know what? I can double my value every month if I put that money into myself. And it wasn't before too long that I started to earn 10 times more than I had as cabin crew. And I got to a stage where, and this is where I talk about never having to worry about money again. You get your knowledge and skill and your attitude to a place where you never need to worry about it. I never have to think about a job ever again because I can go anywhere and take my skill set anywhere with me and I'll succeed. You drop me off in the desert and I'll find a way to sell sand to the Arabs so I can get another step closer to my goal. And just like you, your life experience has got you where you are today. The decisions that you've made and haven't made, the action that you've taken, the action that you haven't taken. And you have so much value to give other people. You might think that you have no value, but if you spent 15 minutes with me, I would find so much value in you that you'd be able to find $1 million within a year. But you just got to believe in yourself. And once you start to believe in yourself, you can have all those things that you've ever dreamed about. And do what Carl did. Back yourself 100%. Get rid of all the reasons of, a secure paycheck, a house, blah, blah, blah. And just back yourself. And once you back yourself, what you do, you actually burn these mental bridges. And Harvard University did a study that if you have a plan B, you'll end up at plan B. Because your mind, it won't believe your plan A, because it says, you know what, you've already planned to fail. So if you plan to fail, we've got a backup plan. And they did this. They did these studies with 164 students that they sent them out and did a task. Go out and prospect. And we're going to give you no money, but your job is to find food. So half of the people went out and they prospected and they knocked doors and they found free food. And it was good quality food. The other half of the students, they said, go out, prospect, find food. But 60 seconds before the task started, they sent them a little text message and they said, by the way, if you don't find the food, we've got a free meal for you at the cafeteria.
Yeah.
They all had a plan B, and guess what they got? Free food at the cafeteria. And the others went out and they found their own. And guess who were the happiest?
Yeah, well, it's so true. So true. There's always, if you've got another option, and it's always known as people like to take the path of least resistance, don't they? So if you've got the option to go and prospect to get your food, or go to the canteen, if it doesn't work, it might not work, so I can go to the canteen, then, you're going to go to the canteen. It's as simple as that. And it's the same in anything you pursue in life. Plan B will always become plan B because you plan to fail in the first place on your plan A. And
coming from a military man, you're going to know this. You got to back yourself. You got to go in there, guns blazing. You got to do it, and you'll come out the other side and you'll be fine. So Generation Y, we've got to remember that for us, our parents struggled, and what they did, our parents struggled so we didn't have to, and that was probably a negative thing. So I know my parents, they wanted to give me everything that they didn't have. But when I grew up, I didn't want their stuff. I didn't want their money. I didn't want their charity. So I said, Mum and Dad, I don't need this. I'll find my own way. But other people around me, they had the silver spoon in their mouth and they relied on somebody else. You only need to rely on you. Just back yourself. Another statistic here is that people with a high emotional intelligence, they are aware of who they are. They know why they feel the way they do. They will earn, on average, $29,000 more than people with a low EQ. So let's put that into pounds. We got $29,000 equals 23,820 pounds. If you are more emotionally intelligent, you will make, again, where's that figure? £23,820 more than your counterparts. And we're talking about somebody who has a JOB. So imagine that in your business where there's no cap on the amount of money that you can earn. You're in the best job. Nobody counts the hours. You can work as much or as little as you want. You can get as many results in 1 hour as you want. You can make as much money in 1 hour as you choose to. So imagine you in network marketing with a very high emotional intelligence, just how much that equals. It far surpasses that. I train a group of managers and leaders at a mushroom farm in Australia. And these people are new Australians, as we call them. They were born in a foreign country and they came to Australia and they're working for their families. And I've been teaching them emotional intelligence for the past 6 months. And what we look at is just a 1% increase every month in their emotional intelligence. Now, over 16 people, they get a 16% increase in total. And what that relates to is a cost saving of $35,000 in their business every week because they grow at 1% per month.
Wow.
It is almost illegal just how much money these people are saving because their people are getting smarter. And the same thing for you is when you understand what's happening emotionally, you become so valuable. You know the results that you've got right now. The results that you've got right now are correlated to your emotional intelligence. It comes back to that drive, whether the fear or the desire. So what you have got is you have unlimited emotional intelligence. Your IQ at the age of 15 will be the same at 50. IQ gets you the job, but EQ gets you paid. And it's the people who develop their emotional intelligence who keep earning more. And statistics have shown for the past 5 to 10 years that people who increase their emotional intelligence by as little as 1% have a 1,300 US dollar increase in their wage every time, which equals about £1,050. So all you have to do is increase your intelligence by 1%, and automatically you'll be worth another £1,050 in your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you work in a JOB. But if you're working for yourself, that again is unlimited.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just want to touch on that, Daniel, as well. I mean, I went to school. You know, this is not all about me. I'm just giving my experience of what I've gone through. That I went to school. I got a couple of GCSEs, no A levels. Didn't go to college. Didn't go to university. Joined the army at 16, and you know, it's just amazing now. I'm on a course at the moment, on a rehab course, where I'm being surrounded by doctors, physiotherapists. You know, all of these people have been to university. They've got degrees. They've worked tirelessly for hours and hours writing dissertations, and they are stuck in a job, getting paid a set amount. They've learned skills in order to, you know, fulfill a role as a doctor or a physio, which is great. They're helping people if that's what they want, and that's what they like. That's brilliant. But what my point is that I didn't have any further education or anything like that. But emotional intelligence through personal development has allowed me to surpass all of them with no qualifications, no grades, no nothing like that, in finances through emotional intelligence. And that, you know, I'm a normal bloke from a council estate. My mum and dad had no education. I had no education, but it was one turning point, and it was that decision to kind of say, you know what, I've been told my whole life that I'm going to amount to something by my mum, so I'm going to amount to something. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to start here. I'm going to watch this or listen to this audio. I'm going to read this book, and then it just developed over time, reading more, learning more, not getting qualifications for it, but increasing my emotional intelligence and personal development. Insane.
Incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible. I love to hear that. It's the emotional intelligence. And why do you have to be emotionally intelligent? Because you're dealing with people. Think about this. Goal setting and time management comes under emotional intelligence. You can spend 17 years at school and nobody ever teaches you how to set a goal. That should be illegal.
I agree.
And we've worked together. You've gone to eat that frog. You spent 8 hours in an emotional intelligence environment, and we saw the emotions coming out of other people, and including yourself. There was people trying to hold those tears back. And the tears aren't the problem. The tears are what you want, because the body is talking to you. Your body talks to you in feelings. And the feelings are the important thing here. And you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need that 17 years of education to become a success, because they actually don't teach you how to become a success. But I know that under the guidance of Carl Amory, being in the opportunity company RX, these people are going to teach you how to be emotionally intelligent. So set goals and create plans and strategies for the attainment, and that'll develop your emotional intelligence. And tell people they're going to be a big success. So this is backed. This is all backed by science. And, you know, emotional intelligence, it's what goes on between you and others. It's your empathy. Your empathy is your ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people. First time we met face-to-face was down in Farnborough. And you meet Carl and you just go, wow, this is a nice guy. You feel comfortable around him. And this is empathy. He goes, Daniel, thank you so much for traveling all the way down here. He knows what it's like to travel long hours with the family. And he understood the emotional makeup of other people. So when I met Carl, I felt comfortable. And this is emotional intelligence. And you want to develop your empathetic skills when you meet other people. I don't want to blow anybody's bubble, but people don't buy your products. They buy you. And then they buy everything that you've got. So you have to be empathetic. Does that make sense, Carl, or am I taking too much sleep rise this morning?
No, you're totally right. It is true, and I don't think I've ever come across anyone else who said anything different. And I'm going to use Apple as an example. I mean, there might be a lot of Samsung and Android users on the call, but for me, it's kind of like, and I watched a TED talk on this. Apple do so well in the marketplace because people buy Apple for their they relate in feelings to their customers, and people buy that, and that's why they do so well. And everyone buys their products. They bring out a phone every year, and people are buying them. Yeah, because they're great products. Don't get me wrong. I love Apple. I've got literally everything in the house is Apple, but it's because you know that, one, they care. The company care about their customers, and I don't know what it is, but the way they market things, it's all about emotional feelings, and that's what people buy. Crazy. We're crazy creatures, humans.
And then we try to be logical. Well, now I've got to get the calculator out. Sir, does it feel right? Yeah, do it, sir. It's amazing. So you've got to develop your empathy, and this is one of the skills we teach at the Success Breakthrough, is understanding the emotional makeup of others. But you'll never understand the emotional makeup of somebody else until you know yourself. The other thing is the social skills, and this is the ability to manage relationships and build networks. Why? I must be crazy to tell you these things first, but that's what network marketing is. It's the ability to understand the person standing in front of you. So I understand what it's like right now. I might not have been through it, but I can actually understand you. And then if you can understand them, all they're looking for is somebody to understand them. This is why guys go down to the pub and they talk about their relationship problems at the bar, because the guy next to them goes, mate, I get you. And they choose drinks and they drink all night. And then they go home and they feel great because somebody understood them. And if you understand people and their emotional makeup, they'll want to be a part of your team. Understand their struggles. People are going through some heavy stuff. When we're having a look at, I don't know if you've seen the Major Dominant Purposes, but, Simon Lannon, here's a guy who's had 44 brain surgeries. My gosh. If you can understand this gentleman and the thing that he's been through, you'll create a friend for life. Other people come to you with their own challenges and problems. And if you can just understand them and their emotional makeup, they will want to be a part of your movement. People want to be with leaders, and you're all leaders. And that ties in with your social skills. Then you manage those relationships and you build networks. Network marketing 101. Manage relationships, build networks. If you understand people, they will be your friends and customers for life. People don't often buy from friends, but what they do buy is the friendship factor. So if you create that friendship factor, you'll then create a friend, and they'll be your clients for life. The clients that I've worked with, they're amazing people. And we owned a pawnbroking business, Carl, for 17 years. And we were called all names under the sun, but we had a legitimate, healthy business. And we knew that our customers didn't have the education that we had. They didn't have the parents that we had. And they grew up in council estates and they weren't good with money. But we just loved them for who they were. And we understood that the struggle that they went through. And we sold that business in 2007. And my mum and I, we were walking across the street the other day, and there was these two women who were reformed ice addicts, and they were yelling and screaming at us. And it was because they were so excited to see us. Because when they came into our pawnbroking business, we understood that what they went through as children wasn't all that nice. And we looked at them as pure potential. And we believed that one day they would become good people and become great mothers. And there they were. They were yelling out to us, Daniel, Sandra, we haven't seen you for so long. They ran across the street. And then they're telling everybody, oh, this is our pawnbroker. We borrowed money from them. And we built this relationship with them. It didn't matter where they were coming from. All that mattered was where they were going. And we believed in them. And for 17 years, we dealt with people from all spectrums of life. And we just understood them. And today, people who were struggling back then are doing great now. And they'll cross the street and say hello. And you want the same thing with your clients. Just understand that it doesn't matter where they're coming from. Help them to get where they want to go faster, and you'll build these networks. They will send you referrals. The statistic is each person knows 300 people by first name. Imagine that. If you meet somebody and you are nice to them, and that's all they say is, be nice to me, and I'll share my network with you. First of all, they know 300 people by first name. So if you know 100 people, you'll never have to worry about money again if you're nice to them. And then what they will know immediately is 30 people who they can refer to you. And imagine a little blinking sign on their forehead that says, be nice to me, and I'll share with you all my contacts. And they'll give you 30. Just think about this, 30, 30, 30. And if you know 10 people, there's 300 customers for you. If you know 100 people, there's 3,000 customers. You'll never have to worry about money again when it comes to emotional intelligence. So it's the social skills. The other three pillars of emotional intelligence is what goes on inside of you as you experience day-to-day events. You've got your self-awareness. You have to understand your mood. You have to understand your emotions and your drives and the effect on others. If you're not getting what you want right now, it's that your levels of self-awareness aren't high enough. Self-regulation is your ability to control and redirect those impulses and moods. If you have this impulse to go to the fridge and not make a phone call, and you keep going to the fridge, then you're not aware of what's happening. If you're sitting on the couch and you're brooding, I think the English call it brooding over the person who said no to you on the last call, then you're not self-aware enough and you've got stuck. And no is never personal. Some will, some won't, so what? Move on. It's a law of averages. One of my clients is a real estate agent. And he sits there and he makes 100 telephone calls a day, and he loves the no. Every time he hears a no, he imagines putting an imaginary $100 note inside a glass jar. And after he gets 99 no's, there's $9,900 in his imaginary glass jar. And he makes the 100th call, bang, 10 grand, makes a sale. This guy is so aware of his emotional state. He goes, this is not about me. Some people just aren't in the right place to accept the offer right now. It doesn't mean it's a no forever. It's just a no, not now. And we move on, thank people for their time. And he has the ability, the regulation to just keep moving on from that. He doesn't hang out on the couch. But when I met him, he was on the couch. He went from doing drugs, lines of coke, sleeping with prostitutes, because he lost his way. He lost his level of desire. And he'd gone from earning $250,000 down to $70,000. And then once he found his way again, within 6 months, Carl, this is phenomenal. He went from that to owning a half share in a business worth $2 million and having 16 people working for him. That's how fast he turned around. He makes so much money now that it should be illegal because he just made the decision and got out of that stuck state.
Yeah.
And that is the motivation. And motivation is a passion to work for reasons that go beyond money or status, and your ability to pursue it with energy and persistence. 95%, and remember this, 95% of your mental energy will be needed just to begin, just to start. You've gone to the RX University. Now you need 95% of your emotional intelligence and your mental energy just to begin. It takes a lot to begin, but you've got to start now. If you wait another day, it will get harder. If you wait till Thursday, it's going to be harder. By the time it gets to Saturday, you're going to be on the couch and you're going to be living in fear. It does take a lot of energy to start, and it's no different to you than anybody else. When I started my coaching business, It was no different for me. Nobody wanted to know me. Nobody wanted to speak to me. Nobody wanted to help me. Everybody thought I was nuts. So I had to go out and I had to either live in fear or I had to live in desire. I backed myself. I sold my houses. I moved to 3 countries in a couple of years, and I kept going until I found what I wanted. I even got to a stage where I was earning $10 an hour, because what I did was I couldn't get a result for a while, but I wasn't going to give up on my goal. So I went and started teaching English in Asia just to get another shot at the title. And then I kept ringing. I was ringing more and more and more. And once I'd done enough action, what I discovered was I had increased my income by $20,000 per month in 6 months because I took a new level of action. I didn't give up. I just found another way to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you've got to do this. And there's no shame in not getting results straight away. There's shame in giving up, but there's no shame in not getting results straight away. Once you have done enough action, you'll get all the results. And it was the same for me. I went to Australia. Nobody wanted to talk to me. I understand it now. It wasn't personal. But now that I have proved that I'm not going to give up, people help me left, right, and centre every day. It's amazing. Once you prove to your partner, and that's why I said before, have a positive expectation. That expect that your partner will succeed in whatever they're doing. Expect that your partner's going to have great health. Expect that your partner's going to give you crazy sex tonight and tomorrow. The expectation, once the expectation is there, once you expect good things for yourself, they will back you. The world is a reflection of who we are. And once you change internally, the world will change externally.
Absolutely.
So get motivated. Have a goal that goes beyond money and status. It's got to be bigger than that. There's no joy in cars and money because it can all be taken away from you. You might get a brand new car and all of a sudden somebody scratches it and then you're pissed off. Somebody can steal your car, you'll be angry. Nobody can steal your joy. Nobody can steal your self-worth unless you let them. Nobody can steal your level of success and the way you feel about yourself. You know, it's these wins that we've got to have internally. Your body is designed to give you free drugs. You are the pill machine. You are the serotonin machine. All you have to do, and you know it, you get up on the stage and you get acknowledged. How good does that feel? It's better than any drug on the planet because you know you've hit a goal. And you just want more of that good feeling. So you've got to go for the feeling, which is the emotion. And then you'll be happy with everything. I was told when I was younger, Daniel, you'll never be happy with a yacht until you're happy with the lollipop. So I went and got really happy with the lollipop. And then everything else in my life I've always enjoyed. And it's these internal joys that nobody can take. And that's your true motivation. So this is all emotional intelligence. And here's something interesting. It's not a set of headlights. It's 2 graphs of emotional intelligence. What we've got here on the right is somebody who's struggling in network marketing. This person, their self-regulation is coming in at 32 points. Their motivation is at 35 points. Their empathy is at 57. Their social skills are at 35. And their self-awareness is at 6. This person's really struggling in network marketing because they don't know why they think and feel the way they do. They don't know that they're sitting on the couch not making phone calls. They think they're motivated because they put photos on Facebook that says beast mode, hustle mode, and they go, yeah, I'm hustling. Have you ever thought to yourself, why don't they advertise Bentleys and Ferraris on TV?
Yeah.
Because those people don't watch TV.
Absolutely.
They just get out there. So if you're not getting the results that you want in network marketing, I can promise you it's not RX and it's not any other network marketing company. They're succeeding. All of them are succeeding or they wouldn't be in business. It comes down to the individual operator and it comes down to the levels of emotional intelligence. We have a look on the left-hand side here. And this person has great self-awareness. They know why they think and feel and act the way they do. They have great self-regulation. They can get themselves out of any stuck state. They hear a no, they keep rolling. They say, thank you so much for your honesty, sir. They don't say, fuck you, man, you said no. They say, thank you so much for your honesty. They smile, they blow them a kiss, they move on.
You
Motivation.
say that inside, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, mate, I was in real estate, and some of the things that I heard that people said on the telephones was worse than that because they got to know. And I hope people would say it internally. And the motivation is there. You know, it can be better. We can see this person's at 7.5, they're doing well, but all they have to do is increase their emotional intelligence and their motivation by another percent, and their results will go through the roof. Their empathy, they understand people, and their social skills, they're the life of the party. They get along with anybody at any level. They can talk to anybody. They can sit in the corner and have a deep and meaningful. They can tell a joke. They have social skills. They have the ability to build networks. So this is what two different types of emotional intelligence can look like. On the left, we've got the high side, and on the right, we've got the low side. But the beauty of it is that IQ, your IQ at 15 is going to be the same as it is at 50. The beauty about emotional intelligence is it's fluid. There's no cap to it. There's no height to it. There's no depth to it. It can keep growing and growing and growing as you start to do the things that you have to do. And once your emotional intelligence is high enough, you'll start to take more action than you've ever dreamt possible. You know, we can have a look at it here. You can see the different levels of self-awareness from one network marketer to another. And this is fascinating, is when I discovered these assessments, is it changes people's lives. It gives them so much insight, and there's no more guesswork, because people scratch their head and they go, why do I have a goal to have a big house, but I'm still not making calls? And they go, but I want to have a big car, but I'm not making calls. I want to have a 6-figure income, but I'm not making calls. It comes back down to the emotional intelligence, is that they just don't know themselves enough. And knowing yourself is knowing why you want those things. People ask me, Daniel, how was Christmas? Did you celebrate? I said, I did. I said, I wrote a list of writing 22 books, and I got through 12 of them over Christmas.
Wow.
And I'm just motivated because one of my things is to share my knowledge with people who are going to do it. And that's why I get up at 4 o'clock this morning to be with you guys at 5, because I just love sharing this stuff with people who are going to do something with it. Winners who are going to take action after this call towards what they want. They're going to get off the call. They're going to write messages. They're going to put plans for the attainment of their goals. And when I
Not Facebook status.
Yeah, no Facebook status, no hashtag hustle mode.
Do it, yeah.
Just get and do it. Nobody needs to do it. Just do it. Just work in silence and just do it. And this is phenomenal. Let me tell you this. This is a phenomenal story. In NLP, we work a lot with emotional intelligence. Everything we do in NLP is emotional intelligence. And I got the pleasure of coming to the UK in about 2 months from now, and I'm going to train a whole bunch of people on how to become NLP coaches. We're going to take them through an emotional intelligence program, which is a 3-day breakthrough session to eliminate fears, to eliminate self-limiting beliefs like I can't have what I want, I'll never be able to make enough money. All these things, these stupid stories that we tell in our head. The Wolf of Wall Street says it. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the bullshit story that you keep telling yourself. And that story comes back to our emotional intelligence. And when we eliminate those stories, we stop running them. Once we stop running them, we can get access to more of our potential. So I'm working with this guy. And this guy says to me, he goes, Daniel, he goes, I want to be a world-class speaker. He goes, I want to stand on stage. And I can see myself there standing on stage, and I can hear people cheering my name. And I said, how do you feel? And he says, I feel at peace. And I said, you're there standing in front of thousands of people, and you can hear them screaming, and you feel at peace. And he goes, yep. And I said, what's the problem here? And he goes, I'm not sure. And I said, the problem is you feel at peace. I said, what do you do when you feel at peace? He goes, well, I feel relaxed. I said, what do you do when you feel relaxed? He goes, I sit on the couch. And that's the difference between you being on the couch and you being on stage, is that's the wrong feeling to have. Yeah. So we coached him through NLP techniques. And I said, tell me a time in your life where you've been really motivated. And he goes, Daniel, he goes, I was going to the markets and I was going down there and I was going prospecting and I was so fired up. And I said, what's that feeling? He goes, it's fired up. And I said, well, let's change the way you think. I said, I want you to stand there and I want you to imagine you're standing in front of a stage and you're in front of this stage and there's 1,000 people and they're all screaming your name and you feel fired up. And he starts screaming, he starts going, woo, woo, woo. And I'm losing it, but you should see his whole body went red and he came to life. And I said, how do you feel? He goes, I feel fucking great. And I said, well, what the fuck are you going to do? He goes, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to fucking hustle. And anyway, we finished off the session and the next day he rings me. It's 9 p.m. at night and he's on a video call. And he is bright red. And I said, and Aussies like to swear a little bit. I said, what the fuck happened to you? He goes, I'm fucking sunburnt. I said, where were you? He goes, I went and hustled in the sun all day. And he goes, I got a speaking gig. And this guy was sunburnt from head to toe. He had spent 10 hours in the blistering 40-degree sun hustling. And it was all because of that one emotion. He had his goals, but he had the wrong emotion attached to it. When he figured out the emotion that he had, he went out there and stood in the sun for 10 hours and got burnt and was still fired up on the drive home. And that was emotional intelligence. And your motivation comes from your motive. What is your motive? What is your purpose? You've got to get clear on that. And remember that motivation is a feeling. And you've got to understand, what is the feeling? This guy, the feeling that he had at the start was peace. Peace, you're sitting under a tree with your legs crossed like the Buddha. Hey, that's great if you're thinking about meditating, but that's not the state, the emotional state that you need to succeed. You need to have that fired up feeling.
Yeah,
And motivation is a feeling. Motivation comes from desire. So you've got to know what you want. And there it is, fear versus desire. If you're not making calls, you're in fear. If you're making calls that equal the level of your goals, you're in desire. If you're making 2 calls, you're not making calls. If you want to live in a big house and have a 6-figure income and you're making 5 calls a day, you're not living in desire. Don't trick yourself. You're still living in fear. If you want to be a baller, as Dwayne Johnson says, if you want to be a player, like Grant Cardone says, you got to start to do the things that people aren't prepared to do. Make 100 calls a day. That's when you're in desire. But start strong. It takes 95% of your mental energy.
Well,
powerful stuff. So I know it's hitting. We're going a little bit over time, but I get a little bit excited when I'm in the presence of lovely people.
No, honestly, it's you've got me fired up now, and it's like it's 10:15, and I'm almost about to sit down and do my my evening personal development reading, and I'm a bit fired up. So I don't know if I'm going to do that, and I might change my routine.
There's that feeling, and I want to let you know is that you've got more potential than you can use in this lifetime than you could possibly use in 100. You were designed for greatness. You were born to do great things. I'm a spiritual guy, and I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. And what the Indians say is they say namaste. And when the Indians say namaste, they are honoring the God in you. And you are a God. You are here to transform lives and go beyond the mundane, go beyond the physical stuff of cars and big houses. That will come to you. And it is important, by the way, that will come to you. But when you start to release the potential in other people for good, and I believe that's one of the slogans there for RX, you will be fired up each and every day. And honour the God in one another. And I honour the excellence in each and every one of you. And I want to let you know, you are far more capable than you've ever dreamed of. The results that are waiting for you, your biggest successes are waiting out there for you in the future. Just have persistence and patience. Success takes time. It's a process. Once you've done everything that you've needed to do, your rewards will come. Just live in desire and seek to eliminate every fear that you've ever had. Once you've got rid of your fears and your self-limiting beliefs, you'll unlock more of your potential. Einstein was using only 15% of his potential. The Stanford Brain Institute have proven it. Einstein used only 15% of his potential. The average person in society is only using about 2%. Now, if you and I are only using 2% of our potential, we have 98% available to us. So, Carl, I've seen your beautiful car. Imagine if you were only operating on 2% and you could have all those wonderful things that you've got and you're only operating at 2% right now. Imagine what happens for you and your family and your family's family and the generations that follow when you get to 3% of your potential and 4% and 5% and 6%. Think about that. Life. You are a god. You've got these godlike skills. It's just time to peel away the layers of the onion and access it. So that's fear and desire, live in desire. And I know that we've done a lot of emotional quotings for the RX team. And if you're interested and you want to know your levels of emotional quotient and you want to know where you sit so you can get more performance out of you, go ahead and let me know. The emotional quotient, it's an 11-page personal report. It's got more than 50 strategies that you can use to succeed faster. It shows you exactly where you are and it'll show you what you need to do to get your goals. So for those of you who are interested in having an emotional quotient, what I'll do for you is the normal investment for these are £301. Your investment is only £58. So it gives you a saving of £243. And I'll guarantee this. If you can't increase your performance from this, I'll give you your money back straight away. So if you're interested and you want to do it, I'll offer you this as a gift from me and Carl. Carl's done these assessments with me. We sat down and we went through yours and we found some amazing stuff. And for the others who are interested, just drop me a Facebook message now. I'll organise one of these for you and we'll organise a debrief for you as a team and we'll get more out of you. Just remember, a 1% increase equals £1,050 increase in your pay. So the emotional intelligence quotient will be free plus a profit of about £998. So if you want to play hard this year, if you want to learn to get more out of yourself, just let me know. And out of this, I want to know one thing. And all I ask of you tonight is that if you felt that this was important to you, this information, I want you to tell me on my Facebook page, tell me how much was this worth to you? But I want to know it in two ways. How will this change your life? This information and this level of action, how will this change your life in the next 12 months? What's the financial impact of this training? And what's the non-financial impact in the way that you feel? And once you do that, see, you've just invested your time to listen to me and Carl. But everything you do in life, you have to have a return on the investment. So you have to say, I spent an hour and 19 minutes with Carl and Daniel, and this year it's going to be worth to me 20,000, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 pounds. And then what you do is you make that a goal to go out and get a return on the investment of this call. That's how you succeed. You go to RX University and you say to yourself, that Saturday, what's the financial impact on me in the next 12 months? What's the non-financial impact? You write it down and then you go out and you go and get exactly what you said it would be. The same thing happened to me. I went to a training. It cost me $20,000 for a 3-day training. But I said to myself, I'm going to this training and I'm going to get a 10 times return on the investment of my time. I walked out of that training. Within 2 hours, I had a $25,000 sale. And that was just the start. So you've got to get a return on investment of your time invested here. And this is something that you need to learn is everything you do, personal education, personal development, you have to get a return financially and non-financially. So just post up on my page, what was the financial impact of this training and the non-financial impact, and then go out and make it happen. So Carl, lovely to be here with you, with your team, And I know that all the resources that you've got, the knowledge that you've got, now take action on it. It takes 95% of your mental energy just to begin. So act now. It's easier today. It'll be harder tomorrow.
Awesome. Daniel, listen, thanks so much for that, mate. I really appreciate it. I mean, even we've done similar calls in the past, you and I, and even I got a lot out of that. Again, and my wife Ellie, who sat here listening with me, got a lot from it too. So, you know, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thanks for all your help and for everything you do for the, you know, for the RX community, and not only that, the people who are involved in network marketing as well. Mm-hmm. So I know you're having a huge impact on a lot of people, and guys, you know, if you're still on, because I've seen a couple of people have left. Obviously, it's getting late, but the training and these emotional assessments that Daniel does, I done mine last year. And I remember I got the results, and we done a call afterwards to discuss things. And you know, my finances went up from it because I understood myself more, which is very important when it comes to things like this, because you need to know why you do things. You need to know why you feel the way you do. You need to know what motivates you, and if you can get all those things nailed, mm-hmm. then you know you just get so much more results. You earn more money, your relationships get better, and life just gets better in general. So from me, I can't endorse this enough to Daniel, and you know he's done this with some of the big guys as well, like James Lavelle's done a lot with Daniel. A lot of the high-class entrepreneurs who are killing it in the industry. So, you know, I can't say a better or high enough word about what Daniel does. So, Daniel, from me and on behalf of the team, again, thanks for getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning to deliver that training. Absolutely phenomenal, as always. And, yeah, guys, get on his wall. You know, write the questions that he just asked. What do you get from it financially and non-financially? And Daniel, we'll see you next time.
Will do, mate. And anytime, if there's anything that you need from me, if there's a topic that you want discussed around coaching, emotional intelligence, leadership, mate, just sing out. Always a pleasure. I'll get out of at bed at 4 a.m. in the morning for you guys any day of the week. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Daniel, again, thanks very much, mate. You're a legend.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Same to you. Ciao, guys. Thank you.
Bye, mate.
Go to bed now.